If you would like to know what cents from 1959 to 1969 that you should be looking for in your pocket change, then you want to watch this video. I'm going to go over from each date and each mint certain ones that you can find in your pocket change still, and they're worth a little bit of money, some of them worth a lot of money. Now, one of the things about this is that this is not exhaustive. This doesn't include every single variety that you can find, or even errors that you can find for each date and mint from 1959 to 1969. That could fill an encyclopedia. But what we are going to do is we're going to cover 1 to 3 of each date and mint mark, so they give you an idea of what to look for when you're looking through your change. So stay tuned. Here's a 1959 D over D over D. This is an RPM, and they call this the RPM1 or FS-022.5. Those can get complicated. Those are catalog numbers. But to get an idea of what you're looking for, here's the mint mark, and you're going to look at the little extra. It's kind of hard to see in this. It's kind of a blurry image, but you know, you're looking for a D over a D. And when it comes to an RPM, they use a hand punch in 1959 all the way up to 1988. And when they did, sometimes the mint mark would be too weak, so they would repunch the mint mark, and so that's how you get your repunch mint marks. Next is what they call a mule. In 1959, the reverse of the Lincoln cent was changed to a memorial reverse, and at least one, was found with a wheat reverse that they stopped using in 1958. So if you find the 59 here with a 58 reverse, a wheat cent reverse, then you got a good find there. Like I said, only one's been confirmed, and there's a lot of them that can be fake, so you got to be careful. They can be counterfeited. Here's a 1960 D over D. This is the large date. There's a lot of RPMs for the large date. This one has actual area here you can see. It's a little bit of a space where the mint mark's struck here first, and then over top of it here to the right a little bit. The next is a large date RPM as well. Like I said, there are several of them. This one's kind of obvious, but some of these are really popular. The mint mark can be restruck, or at least previously struck, in another area, like up in here or behind a little bit. This one here is just a little bit of a head. I've actually found these before. The next one is an actual large over small date. It's a double die RPM. You've seen this one probably sometimes. It's in the cherry pickers, but here's that one, and here's the mint mark, and here's the large over small, and there's a small over large, and those can be really valuable, especially in certain grades, and that's one of them that you definitely want to look for there. Next is the 61D. This was the D over horizontal D, and as I say, you can see on the slab they've got different catalog numbers for it. That's what those mean. Usually we go by the FS number. I'll try to scroll in here a little bit, and right here it's horizontal, and it is struck repunched. It was actually repunched again correctly. Here is the 1962 Double Die Obverse, and when we talk about a verse, we're looking at the front of a coin, and the reverse is the back of the coin. There are several double dies for 1962, and most of them are not worth a lot of money. As you go through, you can see different ones. For 62, there's the little bit of the double I, and a little extra on the L where it's doubled on the T, and you got little die marks, and that's one of the things that you want to identify. It helps with value as well. You can't value a double die until you know the exact double die it is, and it's got to match. If it's known, it has to match these. There are early die states and there are late die states. That's important to note. Here's another 1962 double die, and you know, coppercoins.com. You can see all these die marks, and you can help you identify your coin. Next is the 1963 double die obverse, and that's the FS101. And as you can see, here's the doubled area. That inside the 3 is what you're looking for. This one, you know, is kind of obvious when you see that area there. Next is the 64 Double Die Reverse. And there's a couple for this one. As you can see on the E Pluribus Unum, it's kind of hard to see it in this image because it's kind of blurry, but the letters are thicker. And you've got the doubled here. You can see the split serifs. You know, sometimes it's not as obvious, sometimes it is, but these are obviously thicker, and that's one way to tell. And here is a 1968D RPM. They call this the FS501. You can see part of the lower weekly punch D on that one. And then you have the 1969, there's the S, and this one is basically a counterclash. You can look at clashes. A counterclash is two dies that clash together once and then clash together again. That's the type 1. A type 2 counterclash is when two dies have clashed and then a foreign object falls into the coining chamber and it clashes into the dies, and then those dies subsequently strike a coin. And you can see that at maddieclashes.com, coppercoins.com. They have some examples. The 1969S double die is the biggie for the 1960s. This one, if you find it, you're going to have a small fortune with values in the 5 figures. 40,000 to 50,000 is what most of them tend to go for, and there's one that went for over 100,000 if it grades high enough. If you're finding it in your pocket change and circulation, more than likely it's going to have wear on it. But it has to look like this coin here. I mean, there's no exceptions. I see plenty of people posting coins that have a little bit of strike doubling or machine doubling. It has to look like this coin here, or it's not it. It has to look like this. It's hard to mistake this when you see this picture. And then next is 1969D, missing the FG. This is another one people keep getting mixed up with. The designer initials FG is right here beside the memorial, and they can't be there at all. No remnants whatsoever. And if that area is damaged, it's not going to count either. So if it's a damaged coin, or if you can see just a faint bit of it and you got to turn it at some angles, if you turn it at any angle and at any angle you can see a little bit of that FG left, then it's not worth it. And like I said, most of these are not worth a lot of money. Some of them are worth a couple hundred. The 60, like the 1960 double die, with the RPM, those can be worth a couple thousand in certain grades. Obviously the 69S is worth a bunch of money. Obviously the 59 Mule is going to be worth a lot of money. But most of these are not going to be worth a lot of money unless they grade high. So you want them to grade over 65 if you can. If you're finding these in mint sets or original rolls, you've got a chance of getting a 65, sometimes a little bit higher than that. It's very difficult to get a 67. And as you can see, we can go over that here. And when you do, you're looking at, when we start at 50, 59. If you can get a 59 and 67, you're talking about a coin that's $550. If you go down to the 61 and 67, it's $800. If you got a 62 and 68, it's $10,000. So really, not only are you just looking for varieties in your pocket change, if you get a chance to get a hold of an original roll, or you get a chance to get a hold of some mint sets, look for them in those. Sometimes older collections where people put back coins, like bankrolls, original bankrolls. But I find that most of those bankrolls and most of those collections and mint sets, the coins are pretty beat up, and you're not always going to find what going to find the higher grade coins in them. It's harder to find the higher grade coins in them. So anyways, I hope this helped you understand what to look for a little bit, or that way you can maybe find something decent. Please like, share, and comment. Appreciate everybody. Click that little bell beside the subscribe button, and have a great day.